Welcome back to Why This Beer, the show where we dig into the people, stories, and experiences shaping the craft beer we love. I'm Azlan Graves from Main Street Brewing, joined as always by Darren Binnema, Neighborhood Brewing, Yellow Dog, Penticton.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys.
And today's a special one. We're stepping outside the brew house to talk about a trip that's left a lasting mark on how we see beer, the Czech trade mission for brewing professionals. The Czech Republic might be the birthplace of the Pilsner, but it's also quietly become a leader in something deeper, beer diplomacy. Through immersive trips like these, they've invited brewers from around the world to experience not just how Czech beer is made, but how it's understood, poured, and shared. Join us for this roundtable, our fellow travelers and friends, Donovan Fast from 88.
Yeah, hello.
Mike Foniok from Establishment.
Hello.
And Mitch Warner from Dageraad.
Hello.
I had the chance to go last year, and Darren made the trip 2 years before, so hopefully we remember all of it. In this episode, we talk about what made the experience unforgettable, the tank pours, the stories in the cellar, and the depth of tradition. We'll get into what defines Czech beer culture and how these lessons have shaped the way we brew and think about beer back home. Welcome all.
Debut jet ski.
Thanks for having us.
So
this
guys,
is awesome.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, distance beers.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
It's
rad.
fun.
So what beers were you guys all willing to get, or able to get locally? Not willing.
And then, maybe introduce yourself as well so people know whose voice is whose.
Okay, I'm Mike.
Let's go Mitch
yeah.
first.
Oh, all at once. Let's go all at once. I'll start. I'm Mike Foniok from Establishment Brewing Company. I'm the head brewer and co-owner at the Establishment Brewing Company in Calgary.
And what beer did you grab? Or what are you starting with?
Yes. I got two Czech bars, the Czech original lager and the Czech dark lager, and I also grabbed some Pilsner 12, which I'm currently drinking. All in cans.
Nice.
Mm,
Nice one.
to keep the hangovers away.
That's right. That's what diacetyl is for.
We'll get into that lore. Let's keep it in Calgary. Dono.
All right, I'm Donovan Fast. I'm production manager at 88 Brewing in Calgary, and I'm currently drinking a Czech bar or Bud bar, and I got two of those just to be safe because there's not that much butter. And then I got a Pilsner Quell, and I did manage to snag a Kozl.
Mm,
So
Oh, nice.
nice.
Fancy.
and a Czech bar dark. I like Mitch's idea of maybe trying to pour Rosani on the show.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Mitch,
I'm-
what'd you grab?
I'm Mitch Warner from Dageraad Brewing. I'm head of brewing operations, and I'm one of the co-owners. I grabbed a Czech var in the bottle, or Budvar, as we came to know it. And I also got a Czech var dark and Bernard celebration. I had a Bernard celebration with my dad last week, and it was great. It had some age on it, but it still tasted pretty good.
Heck yeah. And Darren in Penticton, what were you able to grab?
You know what? I have a Kozl that I'm going to grab from the fridge once it's cold, and then otherwise I'm drinking shamelessly my own beer because I didn't have time to go to the liquor store. But it's my own Czech-inspired lagers, and I'm brewing another batch of it tomorrow. So I'm like trying to, get in the Czech mindset and see,
You're getting that
what I'm
diacetyl
gonna
dialed
tweak,
in.
I think I just got to add a few more ppm of diacetyl.
Yeah.
Just to get it over the threshold.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with the low amounts that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think,
you, Aslan?
yeah, I got the Budvar in the bottle. I got the Bernard celebration as well.
Oh,
And I got the Czech var dark in can, which I don't think I've ever had that beer, so
No.
I'm
they
excited.
Mike, I
They
don't
didn't
know.
offer us that.
I've never seen Bernard in Calgary.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it either.
You guys want a bottle? We can mail you a bottle.
I'll come see you guys and grab one.
There you go.
That's what
Need
we'll
ex-
drink at Farmhouse Fest.
That's
There you go.
a
Bernards
lot of
all
wicked
around.
stash of swing tops.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, yeah, Darren's probably the first one who's gone on. I guess the first one that's gone on the trip. But how did you hear about the trip first, Darren?
Yeah, for the Czech trade mission, I heard about it through a post that Azlan Brewing did in Bellingham, where their brewers had just gone on the trip like that year before I went, or 2 years before I went, I'm not sure. And they were talking about how they were making beers, and I explicitly remember a post where an Instagram post was like, "This beer has diacetyl in it," and we know it. And they had just come back from the trip, and they're like trying to make very traditional Czech beers, and I kind of just like tuned into that because I thought that was interesting, and I was interested in making really traditional Czech style beers. So I reached out to them to see at least like, well, they must have a good hop supplier for this, for all their Czech beers if they're really into it at least. So reached out to them, and they let me know who they're using for their hops and how they got on the trade mission. And then I just feverishly emailed the suppliers and until they reached out to have me on the trip.
Squeaky wheel. And Donovan, Mike, what about yourself? Via Blake at Tail Gunner?
Yeah, for sure. So I heard about the trip from Blake, a local brewer in town here. I'm sure Mike's the same. And then I was like, okay, that sounds really sweet. How'd you get in on that? That sounds impossible and not really the style that we're constantly brewing. And then another friend, Brandon from Aveling out in Toronto, mentioned that he went on the trip. And I was just like, oh, okay. So like this is a thing, and like, people are actually going. It's real. And so I ended up at Slow Pour up in Edmonton during the beer awards, and Blake was there doing a tap takeover, and Philip was there, the trade. He works at the Czech embassy in Ottawa, and so I actually got to meet Philip in the fall before the trip, and just kind of actually have a beer with him and talk about the trip. And I was like, oh,
Nice.
so this is real, and there's real people, and that's kind of how the wheels started moving. And just like put my application in, and sure enough, you get the email, and yeah, it felt awesome.
Yeah,
I think
it's kind of nice getting that email. It's a bit of a golden ticket opportunity.
I know, and it's like broken English, and you're like, is this a scam?
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, the application form is like it's like a three question form. The first question is, what is your name? And the second question is, what brewery do you work at? And the third question is, why do you want to come? No, but I think my story is pretty similar to yours, Dono, through Blake at Tail Gunner. And yeah, he went on the trip the year before, and it was like he was talking highly of it, and I was like, how can we get involved? And yeah, so word of mouth for sure.
Yeah, he referred to it as like the nerdiest possible trip for a brewer. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds sweet.
Yeah. And Mitch?
Yeah, I think I saw that Darren actually went on the trip, and then I reached out to Darren. I was like, what is this? How did you get on this trip? And I had like maybe peripherally heard about a trip existing, but I didn't think it was ever, especially for a brewery like ours that, only recently started doing lagers, does a Czech lager like maybe once a year sort of thing. I was like, I don't know if this is really our thing, but we do use a lot of European ingredients. So I was like, kind of leveraged that in my application. I was like, we're using Weyermann malt. We use the Bohemian floor malted pills when we're making our Czech lager, and we use a lot of sots at the brewery as well. So but we're a small brewery, but yeah, Darren hooked me up with the hop supplier and got the conversation going, and reached out to Philip, and I applied originally last or the year before, but I didn't get it. And then Philip was really encouraging me to apply this year. He's like, I know you didn't get it last year, but this year I think it'll be a good chance you'll get it. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah, it's
just have to buy like 8 Luger taps like Brent from Four Winds, and then you get to go on the trip that year, I think.
You can bring 4 friends on the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an incredible situation where many beers are covered, tons of food. I've saved money going on the trip, I feel like.
Yeah.
Drink through weight in beer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
probably one of the
definitely. I mean,
probably one of the
we
only
probably cut
situations.
5 years off our lives, so
Yeah, I was gonna say probably one of the only situations I've ever been completely beered out at the end. I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever drank so
Oh,
much beer in
man.
my entire
It
life.
was gnarly.
wait, are
Yeah.
you talking about like when we were sitting at the train station in Pilsen after we got delayed? We were drinking out of those PET bottles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sheer amount of beer that's packaged in plastic is like, wow, these
It's
guys.
incredible.
Wild.
It's like
But-
they make a lot of beer.
Some of the best beer we had was at that hop museum in those brown plastic bottles.
Some of the best beer
Yeah.
we had was out of those brown plastic bottles.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The university and then the other university. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for like an overall, kind of for those that don't know anything about it, the kind of the goal of the mission is for the Ministry of Agriculture of the Czech Republic to kind of showcase the ingredients that they make there in the Czech Republic. So their malt that they grow there and produce there, their hops that they grow and produce there, the sats and all the variants that there are. And then so they take brewers from all over the world. Used to be just from North America, but I guess on a recent trip it was Australia as well.
Yeah, we had a bunch of Aussies.
And they just take them around the Czech Republic and give them a bunch of beer and show them where all their ingredients come from, which as a brewer is like awesome. It's just like Willy Wonka chocolate factory, right? Like go to these old historic malt houses that you kind of know might exist, but you don't know, like you can't really picture what it is to like go down these like stone steps to a to like a malt house where they're floor malting Pilsner. And so like that kind of experience where you're having this access to these raw ingredients and how they're produced is like unlike no other. And then they send us back to North America and hope that we tell someone about it. So,
Yeah.
and I think
And
they know
truly,
that. Yeah, I think they know that we'll talk to our friends like we are doing now and kind of chat about it, and we'll buy lots of sats and we'll buy lots of Wireman floor malted pills.
yeah.
100%.
The
Yeah,
Bohemian floor malted pills from Fireman.
yeah.
That was quite the tour. What was your guys' thoughts on that, especially, if you guys have seen other malting facilities? We went and saw Fireman directly before that, so
That place was crazy, and like it kind of blew me away, like how rustic it was, but like the quality of the malt is speaks for itself. There, I did probably get a sinus infection after being in that testy ballroom.
So
The
dumb.
felt-
lack of health and safety.
I felt so bad the next day.
And it wasn't the beers.
No.
yeah.
It was cool though. It was just like how damp and musty it was, and just like Mitch said, just old and rustic. And I don't know, like you have this idea in your head of what it looks like, and it's like, one of the biggest malt companies in the world, and like environment, and you're like, oh, this is it. And there's just these old tractors sitting around, and that was cool. It was neat to see it.
That's
Yeah, there's a guy that's literally
Pivovar
like,
Ferdinand.
yeah, people.
Yeah,
are-
exactly.
are-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys go to that one, Darren?
Yeah, we did. I got to pull like the malt hoe and like actually
Oh,
crazy.
dang.
so malt,
Whoa.
do a little floor malting, a token amount on
Oh,
the floor.
nice.
Just walked all the malt with like my boots that have been all over the place. You're like, really? And they're like, oh yeah, no problem.
Don't worry about it. This
Don't
isn't
worry
our
about it.
problem after it leaves
Yeah.
here.
It was
That's
like,
all hot
wow.
side.
Yeah,
It's hot
yeah.
side.
Okay. So yeah, we all just did a couple passes on that, which is you're like, wow, you do about 20 feet. You're like, this is exhausting. I can see why there's now technology to not do
Not
it this
do
way.
this.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Yeah.
when it's like warm, right? Because it's like
Fermenting
germinating
and
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
just like
The
that
heat.
that place was wild. And the fermentation, the open fermentation vats and stuff. It was a really neat place.
Yeah, open fermented,
Yeah,
and
that the cool.
when we were able to just dip our hands in the krausen on the open fermenting tank, and the guide was just like, yeah, just go for it, like send it. And that was some of the most
Like a little
bitter
bit of yeast
tasting
in your
krausen
pocket.
ever. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these marshmallows taste like medicine.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Like seeing all the like being able to be toured around for a whole week. And the crazy part is, they shove us all into a bus, and every morning, you wake up or you get woken up by Philippe, and you're running to the bus at 7 or 8 in the morning, and you're off to the next place, and you've just been drinking beer all day and all night, and it's quite the ride. It's quite the ride.
Like to explain like Czech drinking culture is like, yeah, you'd go somewhere, they'd take you on the bus, maybe it's like an hour on the bus, and you're at your next destination. It's 9 a.m. and the first thing that they will do, or like within the first half hour, is like someone will offer you a beer.
Oh yeah.
At whatever stop you are at. You're like, this is insanity. Like, and it's obviously you're not gonna be rude. But that's like here you are at like the hop plantation, like wherever the hop farm, drinking beer that was made with hops from that farm. You're like, well, okay, this is gonna be a big day.
Yeah.
Well, the Czech Republic is has the first place in liters drank of beer per capita in the world, right? So we are theorizing that this is one of their ways to keep those numbers up. Just bring a bunch of Canadians and American brewers in and try to get those liters up, right? Just keep feeding us beer.
Hey, quick shout out to our friends at Hops Connect Canada. They've been hooking up brewers with quality hops for over a decade.
Yeah, started on a farm in Pemberton, and they got warehouses across BC, Ontario, and Quebec. Super reliable, and they actually get what brewers need.
They've got all the classics: Citra, Mosaic, Amarillo, Eldorado, Cascade. The list goes on, with lot selection starting at just 100 kilos.
But what we've really been digging lately is their liquid hop lineup. Total brew day game changers.
Yeah, stuff like Flex for bittering without the wort loss, Incognito for whirlpool flavor without the mess, and Spectrum for dry hopping with no hop creep.
I'm also a big fan of Hop 8 Anti-Foam. Less foam, higher tank fills. That's a win.
And if you're chasing that haze, Hop Haze keeps it locked in for up to 12 months. No flavor impact, just stable haze.
They've even got a brewing calculator on their site to show you just how much time and margin you can save. Super handy when you're dialing things in.
So yeah, if you're brewing in Canada, check out Hops Connect.
Solid people, solid hops. Hops Connect Canada, your partner in craft.
But yeah, that culture of drinking beer there is in their national pride, right? It's absolutely insane. All the locals keep mentioning it. You talk to locals about beer drinking, and that always comes up. So yeah, that's definitely part of the culture for sure.
And Jess, I think that's one of the things I noticed first and foremost is it didn't matter where you were, what bar or restaurant you're at. Like no one's drinking cocktails or no one's drinking mimosas. Like everyone's got a pint of beer in front of them, and I think that's just like such a huge cultural pride, and it speaks so much about their country. And I'm here for it. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, to that point, like I think just like the general awareness, like the average person knows a lot about beer. And a lot about beer service and like how the beer should be served, what it should look like. It should have lots of foam on it. The glass should be clean. And I think that there's like an attitude there that like they won't put up with. If you ask for a Hladinka, like, and it's got no foam on it, you're like, yeah, I'm not drinking that. Or like if your glass is dirty. And it just seemed the general level of knowledge was high for beer.
I was going to say it, Pult. I think it was Pult. I was trying to clear the table, and I had like this much beer left in the glass. And I poured it into my full beer, and I thought they were going to export me. I thought they were gonna take me out of the country. Like they were so mad, and I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe I did that. I was just in shock. I'll never do that again for the rest of my life.
Was that the first night or the last night?
The first night was the night we didn't have coasters and we all got yelled at. And then
That's right. Yeah. Coaster culture.
I think it was the last night.
Yeah. It's funny though, like with coaster culture, it's like Holt for sure, like classy spot. Like they do beer service to a next level. But you'll be in like a Legion or whatever of like some small town, and there's like it's the delaminating like press board table that you're sitting next to, and they like refuse to put the glass down until there's a coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of care towards service there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the fact that like I thought like, oh yeah, it's important to have a clean glass for your beer. Like, of course you'd want that, but like when you talk to the people at Lucre and then other people that are pouring beers, they are hand cleaning every glass. Like at a lot of places. I don't know. It was only later in the trip that I started to notice that. Like at the start of the trip, I was more focused on the beer. I wasn't looking at like where they were literally cleaning the glasses, but like so many places were like hand cleaning every glass, which is super laborious. Like because they're going through so many glasses because they're drinking so much. Like if anyone needs a glass washer, it's those people. But yeah, hand washing every glass so that it's like pristinely clean, and then at a lot of places keeping them in like water baths, cold water baths. So like
that water bath was so cool.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You guys went to the Bohemian hop growers group there, and in their like crazy bunker silo building that looks like a hospital, but it's like full of hops.
Yeah, that was crazy.
All I remember about that day is how hungover everyone was and how hot it was in that conference room, and we're literally falling asleep at the board table. And this poor guy's just droning on, and everyone's sleeping.
Yeah,
it was so good, and it was so hot in there.
Yeah.
Why is this on the top floor?
Yeah, the tour was cool. That
sure.
building was insane. Like it had like this. Apparently, there's like a patio on the rooftop where they like hang out and drink beers and stuff like that. And then there's that like weird office building that like office that protrudes out of the middle of the building.
Glass, for the overseer.
Yeah. Watching his trucks.
Yeah.
Did you guys, I guess you sniffed some hops there. Did you have any favorites or standouts, the Sladeks and the Kazbeks of the world, or the
I think
Super
Kazbek
Shine?
was
Or
the biggest surprise.
Kazbek was like cool.
Kazbek was like juicy and like, I don't know, like tropical compared to the rest of them, in my opinion.
I really liked the Saz special. That was really cool. But they also just told me that we wouldn't be able to get it. Like, no, it's sold out.
Yeah, you can't get it.
Basically,
Damn, I want that sauce special now.
It's for special people. Oh.
Well, they have had like pretty bad years of Sans. Like it's been some pretty low alpha years, even for their standards. Like the last few years, I think this past year it was like better. But yeah, it is interesting where like in North America, at least, it's like a lot of like, okay, how can we get these like tropical hops that are new and have like good agronomics? But they're like not all, but a lot of their newer hops are like Sauce Special, Sauce Shine, Sauce Summer, or whatever, because they don't want your brewers to think it's not Sauce. Like, it's Sauce, guys. Don't worry. Even though it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
so it's this
alpha,
thing where eventually like they want to move towards something that's better, either more drought resistant or that can survive the crazy heat waves that they've been getting the last few years.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how dry it was. I thought that it would be kind of like a more temperate climate there, but it was quite dry, and like you could see it in the hop fields. Like the soil was like dry, and so that's what they're starting with, and then they're getting droughts on top of that. Then you can see why they're concerned.
Yeah, I don't know where they stand with like irrigation or not, or like if some places can or cannot. I think it's pretty.
It looked like they were building like these pools. Like I don't think they have access to a lot of rivers in that area, so they're like building these pools that are filling up the water in the beach.
Like rainwater, catch water. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and like massive. So, yeah, that was neat. And it also sounds like they were working on. They're putting a lot of research into these shorter hop vines. So they're trying to create, like instead of the huge trails, they're trying to do these shorter ones. But the difference is it requires specialized equipment again, right?
Yeah, and then lower yields per acre and
but less money for setup and teardown.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That was at Eric's Hop Farms, I believe, right? Where they had those like little dwarf hops.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
What was the first one we went to? No, it was Top Hops.
Was it Top Hop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Top Hops, and they're talking about the shorter hop fields.
Yeah. With Budvar, with Budvar, they were talking a lot about hot side aeration to push like bigger Maillard reactions with their Czech beers. Do you guys do anything for your Czech inspired beers to like emphasize color and finishing gravity? In that sense, like, or Kel finishes at like 4 Plato, I think. It's the other thing.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's wild.
It's higher than my hazies.
No wonder I gained 10 pounds after that trip.
It wasn't the deep fried Gouda.
No, butter fried cheese. No, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
I guess the other question I had for you guys is, I've always been like a big, just like Pilsner only Czech lager brewer, but I was surprised at how many of their beers were like quite dark, like for their like pretty, like their pale Czech pale lagers, like they're pretty gold or like pretty almost like verging on copper.
Yeah,
he'll be back.
When we were at the university, he was saying that like they would often add like a bit of like caramel malt.
Yeah,
just to kind of get that color and like that.
I saw lots of jugs of Cinnamar around as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wireman's got that Cinnamar contract.
Yeah.
We add a little bit of melanoidin malt in our Czech lager, just to kind of simulate a little bit of a decoction, because we are not going to do a decoction on our brew house. It's just, I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of similar. We have a steam jacket on our mash tun, so we can do step mashing, but we don't have the capabilities of decoction. And so, much like Mitch said, we're just trying to mimic that with melanoidin or Vienna or Munich or whatever we're feeling. But yeah, as you guys were saying, like I was surprised with how dark the beer was as well, because like, before that trip, I probably would have gone straight Pilsner, no color, really light Czech pale lager for that kind of style, and probably a bit more dry than they do it. So some big takeaways for me were just like, a bit darker, a bit sweeter, maybe a bit more bitter to balance with that sweetness.
Yeah.
I feel like I would always get confused with like, German Pilsners being like hoppier, but it's just a lighter base and not as like balanced. It's like the balance is more towards hops. Whereas like this, there's an intense amount of hops, but it's balanced with the intense amount of sweetness.
Yeah, like going back to Hamburg before that trip, it's all just like really light bodied Pilsners that are really bitter, and they're not balanced, and they're finished quite dry. And then transitioning over to immediately for the first 3 days, just Pilsner Quell was a huge difference, and like not really how I thought it was going to be. And I didn't realize how much diacetyl Pilsner Quell had before that trip. Like I probably just haven't sunk as many pints of it, or it was 10 years ago and I didn't really remember,
Yeah. Mike, do you add any like darker malts to your Czech pale lagers to kind of make them gold?
Yeah, we don't do the hot side aeration trick. We usually try to avoid that. But yeah, we do add a little bit of Munich. So we don't do a decoction on our system. We use the Czech style Pilsner, or the Bohemian Pilsner from Weirmann, or the floor malted Bohemian Pilsner from Weirmann, and we do add a little Munich and some light caramel to drive, kind of to replicate a little bit of those Maillard reactions that are happening in the decoction. But yeah, so we're not doing the traditional decoction, but we're trying to emulate it a little bit, yeah, for sure. And I think you get a pretty nice color and a nice flavor profile from that. And when we took that extra beer course afterwards, the university was recommending doing that if you weren't able to decoct. So it was like, oh, that's great. Someone in the Czech Republic said that it's okay.
Someone sanctioned it. Yeah.
We've got our certificates now.
Because they're so traditional. They're so traditional there. They're like, decoction always. That's all we know. What is infusion? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Decocted IPAs.
Yum.
So none of you are as crazy as Azlan doing decocted on his 2-vessel steam system?
Oh man, he was telling me about that. It sounds like a nightmare.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's an experience. We only do it for our Czech dark lager and when we've done like Alsatian Pilsner, but yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. Had something maybe.
Yeah.
Never done it without in those recipes, so
there you go.
Yeah.
I think it
triple decocted, right? Triple decocted. Everybody believes in triple decoction, right? Everybody here.
I was gonna, it seemed like that was everywhere. Everywhere was stating that like triple is too much, except for you go to Pilsner or Kill, and they're like, "That's why our beer is the best."
Yeah. Triple always. Yeah. They're doing the lactic acid rest for 24 hours as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think we got to get into it before we move forward. Is like we've kind of like beat around the bush a bit with the big D word, but what were you guys' thoughts going into the trip about diacetyl, and what did you think about the beers that you had, and kind of like has your perspective shifted, or are you a staunch believer or a rejecter of diacetyl? Kind of what was your takeaway?
So I'll start. I think it's like when we got there, it was like, holy shit, there's so much butter in this beer, and you couldn't believe it. It's like certain bars had certain thresholds, and you're just like, this is nuts. And by day 3, you're like, this is a reasonable amount of diacetyl.
Totally.
So I think like as far as my acceptance of it, I think it's just more so like this is cultural. It's everywhere. It's not just bad lines. It's not bad beer. Like this is how the beer is designed. And so I think you have to mentally accept it that it's a cultural beer and it's the best selling beer in their country. So it's like this is the way it is. And whether I accept it and want to put it in my Czech lagers, no, absolutely not. So I don't think our society is ready for that here.
Yeah, on that note, I think that the trip all in all was like an incredible palate training course. Like I came back and tasting our beers, I was like, oh man, I'm like way better at tasting our beers now. Like it just like across the board, not just with diacetyl. Just like I feel like I'm better at it now.
You ever feel like you've got everything dialed in except fermentation?
Oh yeah. If your yeast isn't consistent, the whole batch can go sideways.
That's why we've been checking out Yeast Canada Innovations. They're Canadian-owned, brewer-focused, and they get what you need. Reliable strains, solid flavor, and real support when things get weird.
And shipping is smooth. They've partnered with Hops Connect, so your yeast comes from the same warehouse, BC, Ontario, or Quebec, right with your hops.
Even better, if you ship together, your yeast ships for free.
And they're not charging premium prices either. The pricing is super approachable, which means more budget for the fun stuff, like more beer.
Here's the kicker. If you're listening to this podcast, you can get 5% off your first order at yeastcanada.com. Just hit up their team for the code.
Yeast Canada Innovations. Let's elevate your craft.
But I'm still like maybe it's just like a suspicion, but I do think that maybe some of those bladder systems are exacerbating diacetyl, because there were definitely bars that had like way worse diacetyl in Pilsner Kel than other bars. And, maybe it's batch variation or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, the duo tank system is maybe not as O2 proof as
and that's kind of what I was maybe thinking, but it was interesting also going to some of the places in Prague that didn't have diacetyl, or in Czech Republic that didn't have diacetyl, and Ufleku, and what was that bar that we went to?
Holt?
No,
Automat.
No, the one that we went to on our day off, the Automat. Yeah, Automat. Matuska.
Oh, Mustika, yeah.
Yeah,
Matuska.
and it was like, trying those beers, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, this actually tastes more like a German lager, and you're excited about it. But I think you're right, Dono. Like, I think it's a cultural thing. Like, I think that's what Czech lager tastes like is, it's a lot of it has to do with the balance that diacetyl offers to the beverage. And, it's an interesting experience to be immersed in that and be like, you can't get away from it. So you just have to like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Well, and anyone that's been drinking it, like anyone that's alive, that's how it's been. Like, that's how that beer's been for them.
Yeah.
And so they don't know any different, and that's just the way it is. Whereas as craft brewers, and especially North American brewers, we're trained that that's a massive off flavor.
Yeah, they probably tried removing
or
they probably tried cleaning up the diacetyl once, and their liter count went down, so they're just like, nah. Let's go back.
Yeah. Diacetyl makes it more drinkable.
Romania's going to catch us. We gotta get that diacetyl back.
But yeah,
also,
I
think we also came to the conclusion that diacetyl prevents hangovers. So maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, based on the amount of liters that we're all drank collectively, there should have been a lot more hangovers. But the diacetyl. But, then you go over to Mike's place at Establishment where there's no diacetyl and Dono's, and next day you wake up feeling not the best.
You sound like you're speaking from experience.
Yeah. I was just chasing the pint in Calgary last week for everybody who doesn't get the context. And I was well taken care of.
Heck yeah. We did many sabers. Sabered many a bottle.
I love that. You guys are sabering with a bottle blade. That's incredible.
It was ridiculous. My
we usually do it with our mash paddle. We've got
you
got
mentioned
like a huge
this.
like stainless steel mash paddle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, my experience with the diacetyl, I heard about the butter thing, and everyone's like, oh yeah, get ready for the Butterfest. And I'm like, there's no way it's that bad, right? Like, it's a subtle amount. It is not a subtle amount.
Yeah.
In most cases. And it was quite jarring for sure at first, but there's definitely certain brands have it more prominent than others. And I think it was welcome when we went to Budvar and it was diacetyl free, and it was near the end of the trip, and it was like, here we go. Let's actually go.
Yeah.
And then everybody was very excited about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just mental or if it's true, but I feel like the closer we got to the Pilsner Club brewery, the cleaner the beers got. Like, I feel like there was less butter. Like, when we went to Lucre, I don't know if it was just that keg or that system or whatever, but I feel like the closer we got to the brewery, the better the beer got. And so
I was going to say, like, I feel like it doesn't travel as well.
Could work.
Yeah.
But I think it's like every time we were having it off of kegs, it was better. Like when we did our training course, it was better than most of the bars we had it on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the keg, I think the bladder system is not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, like, everybody uses this company called Duo Tank, and it's so that you go to these places that are tank bars. It looks like a horizontal lagering tank that's like integrated as part of the design, and they, unlike at our breweries, the beer is just in there against the stainless steel. But what they do is they put it's a giant wine bag essentially. And so that way the restaurant, instead of pushing with CO2, can push with compressed air. They don't have to do a CIP. And there's,
Yeah, they just fill a big
Potentially-
bag in a. It's not a bag in a box. It's a bag in a big stainless tank or a
Yeah.
copper tank
Yeah.
or whatever looks nice
Yeah.
in the bar. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that's a
And-
test. You do one with compressed air and you do one with CO2 and you same batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because when we were on the trip, we were at Lucre, and the closest bar to Lucre, I've never had more diacetyl in my entire life, which was like hilarious because you're so close to the proper brewery. Like you can almost see the brewery
See their caliber. Yeah.
there, and watching this guy pour like amazing, Hladinkas of beer, and you're like, I cannot drink this. This is like unbelievable. Still drank it, but it was pretty insane. I think that when I was on the trip, what was impactful for me was that it's not like any one brand was like going for a certain amount of diacetyl, or like Budvar guys would say they want none. They were basically the only brewers that would talk about
Openly.
openly like
Yeah.
talk about diacetyl like as like a selling feature, that they had none. Whereas other brewers would be like, that we talked to, were kind of ambivalent towards it. They're like, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, whatever. Like we just, the beer tastes good. It's like they don't care as much. They're going for drinkability.
Mhm.
That's the thing. They're not focused on whether it's there or not there.
Well, it
And
definitely
I-
helps with drinkability with those hoppy beers too. Like
Mhm.
tempers that bitterness.
These poor
Yeah.
guys on the tourists around probably have to mentally prepare themselves every year for 20 craft brewers to come ask them about diacetyl for a week.
Yeah. They're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
But I think,
almost
yeah,
they
they're
almost
just,
consider
like,
it just
not
like a,
in tune to it the same way that we're not going to.
totally. It's just like it's like they consider it just a part of beer. It's like in England, it's like yeast
Yeah.
esters, like like red apple ester. There, it's like diacetyl. It's in the beer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like talking to, was it Vaclav, the guy at Pilsner Quell?
Yeah.
I asked, like, we asked him straight up, and he just like his explanation wasn't to beat around the bush. Really, he said that he thinks it helps with the flavor, the mouthfeel, the drinkability, like same thing we're all saying, but like coming out of the horse's mouth, if you will, is just like he stands behind it. He's like, this is why it's there, and like Mike said, like maybe they took it out and their leaders went down, and they're just like, well, we'll just keep it the way it is because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's so much about traditional
Whereas Adam
brewing,
at
right?
Budvar was like, no.
Yeah. Adam at Budvar had some strong words to
Sorry,
say.
I mean to swear.
Yeah. It was hilarious. Anytime there's a lull in the conversation on the Budvar tour, he's like, so how about the diacetyl at Pilsner Kel, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Really
gets the
getting
leaders
everybody
up.
riled
There's
up.
Oh yeah, for
There's
sure.
definitely no love lost between those
No.
two breweries for sure. Definitely didn't realize that, like, going into it, that they're like competitive that much.
Oh, I mean, like,
each bar is like either a Pilsner or Kel bar, or it's a Budvar bar. You're
but
not
I mean,
having
like in
both on tap.
in
Like, not
Prague,
happening.
like I think I only saw 2 Budvar bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all Pilsner
like,
or
there was
Quell
one
all
on
the
the
time.
river. Like it couldn't even be on land. It's like that's how much Urkel had taken over
Oh, yeah.
Prague. And then
Budvar
we went to
boat.
that one. We went to that one other bar. That was like the only other one we ever saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the last night when everyone separated, Bentley and I went back to Old Town in Prague, and we went to this one bar that David recommended, and they had Budvar on tap. And so we asked our server, we're like, hey, we'll get 2 pints of Budvar. And the way he looked at us, he like shook his head, and he was like, he didn't want to give it to us. He's like, do you drink Pilsner and Quell here? And I'm just like, oh, okay. And it's just, I don't know, like maybe you just don't ask for that in Prague.
So funny.
Yeah. Holt had both of them on.
Mm-hmm.
No, they had a
Yeah.
different. Mike, what was the beer that they had on? They didn't have. They had Budvar, but they didn't have the other one on.
Urquell. They have
Oh, yeah, they had Pilsensky Prazdroj. That's right. So that was a funny one. So
Night.
yeah, we walk into Pult and we see Pilsensky Prazdroj on the menu, and
That was
I
like night
oh,
one.
I think that was night one, and I was like, "Hey, my dad used to drink that beer. I heard him say that before. Let's order one of those." And we're drinking it, and we're like, "Oh, this was so much better than Pilsner Urquell." And then, lo and behold, it's actually just Pilsner Urquell in Czech. And we're like, "Son of a!" Got him.
Got him.
Got him.
Yeah. But they pour off of kegs there.
That's right.
Well,
So
that's
maybe
the
you're
thing.
I
wrong.
do remember.
I
it
think,
tasting
Mitch,
good,
maybe you might be onto something here with that bladder system.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa, sorry, Duo Tank.
No. This is a duo
Hashtag
tank
not a
hit job
sponsor.
right here.
Yeah.
I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're fine. They're not
So is
gonna
anyone
stop
trying a
doing it.
Shazane pour right now?
Yeah.
Is anyone trying to do the cut pour?
No, I just poured my whole can.
Should
That's
I?
fine.
Yeah.
No. Oh wait, I'm saving these two for last to maybe try one.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
I must say, the Bernard is really good. It travels well.
It is
Yeah,
good.
rub-
Nice.
I really liked it.
It's a little bit more fruity. And look,
What is it?
brown bottle versus green.
Interesting.
There we go.
Maybe that's the difference.
Oh, it's got a
Mm.
pop top. You could homebrew in that thing.
Oh yeah, half-liter
Oh,
homebrew
buddy.
bottles. They're like perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, don't tell anybody about.
step-
Edit this out because they're gonna go. The homebrewers are gonna go down to the stores and buy up all
Drink
the
'em all.
Bernard.
Yeah, pour them down the drain
Yeah. $6 pop tops, sweet.
so they can make chai tea brown ale or something.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking about weird things I made.
Darren, I like your Budvar mug.
I do too. It's very nice.
Yep.
It's a nice size.
Oh,
Later.
lucky.
Lucky.
Nice.
Took it on the tour. Took the tour, and we got to eat in the restaurant after, and then I just had like my glass, and then they were just taking all their glasses away because they thought they were like the table glasses. So to snag it.
Mm.
But yeah.
Man,
The,
you guys
That
remember
sounds
that?
like you stole it.
Remember that
they
restaurant
gave
in
it to
Bernard?
me, so I just didn't give it back.
Remember when
Sorry,
we were
what
on?
was that?
That restaurant in Bernard, like all I remember is those mugs were so sick. And
Oh, yeah,
and they
those
had
really
like
like
ceramic coasters.
yeah, man. It was like that bougie lunch spot we went to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that place was great.
Yeah, I mean, in Czech Republic, like they're spare no expense on glassware. You're not having
Mhm.
like a cheap glass wherever
Yeah.
you're going there.
No.
It's all really nice, hefty glasses. I was gonna ask you guys, have you changed anything in your fermentation game after going to the Czech Republic or talking to the brewers there? Are you still using 3470? Are you getting like premium pills yeast or like? I think one thing that I've tried is like cutting out a diacetyl rest and just like keeping it cold throughout the fermentation, kind of like Budvar style, where they like keep it cold the whole time, and then when it's almost done fermenting, they send it to the cellar at like 5 degrees, and then just keep it there
Hold it for 60 days.
60 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you guys are doing anything different.
I've got a Czech lager brew coming up in about a month here for my next one. And I think, as I was saying earlier, like previously, let's say my last rendition before going to Czech Republic, I would have gone straight Pilsner malt, really light in color, finished a bit drier, and maybe not as bitter. And so I think this time around, I'm going to add some more, definitely like Melanoidin or Munich, or go a bit darker that way, finish a bit sweeter, and aim higher on that bitterness level, and maybe try some different hops if I can get my hands on them. Probably still stick with 3470, just because it's house lager yeast for us. We have a core lager that just pumps that yeast on rotation, so just keep it simple that way. And as far as I'm concerned, based on Pilsner Urquell being brewed by a lineage of a German brewer, I think that's probably what their house yeast is.
Yeah.
I think for us, not a ton of changes, but obviously reducing our polyphenol load by using some higher bittering hops, and because we were using like pretty low alpha SOTs for bittering. We were, up in the like 4 to 5 kg range for our bittering addition on our Czech pale lager, which was getting a bit heavy because like our hop cone was probably the biggest hop cone of any of our beers we make.
Yeah, it's the ironic thing, yeah.
But and then the other thing I think would be the takeaway, and like I think we heard this both in the Czech Republic, but also in Germany when we were there before the Czech Republic, is like taking the salts out of the beers and just like letting the mineral, like the water profile, be what it is. Like I think that's a really interesting approach to making lagers. We did that with a lager we did actually while we were brewing it at Dageraad, while we were taking the train from Bamberg to Prague, and I just like sent some notes to Blake. I was like, no more salts, no salts in this brew.
Hold
the salts.
Yeah.
He's like, what time is it there?
Yeah.
Is it too late?
Just like, this is the ingredient that you can't replicate from somewhere else. So why not just let it be what it is?
Cool.
Yeah, it was it Michael at Pioneer that was kind of
he was
saying that?
Yeah.
He was saying like everybody uses the same malt, everybody uses the same hops, everybody brews to like 5 to 5.2% ABV. So the only thing you can do is have your water to make it different. Yeah. And like you ask him about mash pH, and he's like, oh, and that was the neat thing, is hearing from him, because he did some really good examples of like modern craft beer in that small little brewery. But then on the flip side, had incredible traditional Czech beers, and those were his biggest sellers. The modern craft was kind of like a interest in, like, probably for tourists coming through mainly. But he was like, oh yeah, mash pH on our Pilsner is like 5.8 to like 6. He's like, it's fine.
That's wild.
Like, conversion isn't that different.
Wow.
Yeah,
that
I think that
awesome.
that helps
like,
drive some of that Maillard reaction, I think, right? With that higher pH, like more color in the boil and more color in the decoction, which is really cool.
I was definitely going to try and do that on my next decoction for sure. It's just like, not adjust at all.
Yeah. We briefly talked about that with Ben Howe from Other Lands and the Franconian brewers there, how they are almost intentionally going with higher pHs for their beers in general. I think there's a good craft beer and brewing article about that, and like really going like pretty high amounts of mash pH to kind of drive that like Maillard kind of feeling, even in like pale lager, not just like dark lager kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Now we're in the weeds.
Oh yeah, we're getting into it. I think the one takeaway that I remember hearing, and I think this was at Budvar, was how they control their fermentation rate, and then they use their temperature to like control the rate of fermentation rather than like trying to set a temperature. So they're looking at a specific, like, I think they were looking at like 1 Plato per day. I'm not quoting, but they were looking at that fermentation rate, and then they were adjusting their temperature accordingly. So that's how they were setting their like fermentation rate, which is really cool. Which is kind of, if you think about it,
and then
the rate of fermentation is actually what. Yeah, go for it.
So they were trying to target like 14 days, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they were trying to target like a specific like fermentation time or like rate of fermentation, and then the temperature was like the secondary variable that they were using to control that, rather than, because like we have like a fermentation schedule set by temperature, not by rate of fermentation. So that's actually kind of cool. And if you think about it that way, it's actually kind of fascinating, because you're like, oh yeah, the rate of fermentation can like affect ester development and all that stuff. So it's like temperature can be like a lever that you can use to control that. I don't know, that was kind of cool. We haven't implemented that yet, but that'd be that's something that I took away. That I was like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. That's kind of cool. And then obviously everything's automated over there, so it's traditional brewing practice is fully automated.
It was state of the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What temperature do y'all ferment your lagers at?
We're pretty,
Whoa, that's
I don't know, we're like pitch at, yeah, depends on the beer.
Abstain.
No,
I'm not gonna tell. I'm just letting you guys go.
I'm a big fan of cold ferment,
like
cold
pretty
pitch.
classic. Yeah.
Pitch at like 8 and ferment at like 9.
I think we
Yeah.
kind of however cold you can get it into the fermenter is how cold I'll do it. Like 8 to 9 to 10, and that kind of I can't remember the last time we brewed it was probably 8. I think we tried after the trip because I was more of like a 10 degrees C. 8 seems scary. You pitch at 8 and you don't see any activity for a couple days. I think like yeast, it depends on how healthy your yeast is too. If you're pitching at 8, you do risk like it being like a bit slow and stunted, and like if your yeast is not healthy, it's going to throw flavors out there that you don't want. So it's all dependent on that. But yeah, cold. I like cold.
Yeah, we're lucky. We have a CLT with 2-stage cooling, and so we can get it pretty cold. We're generally knocking out between 8 and 10, fermenting at 12 for our core, and then for our seasonals, we can ferment a bit colder, but generally around like 10 to 12 fermentation temp, and then we let it have a diacetyl rest, and then we'll kind of slowly step it down. I don't know. I've heard that stepping it down is healthier because we repitch a lot of the yeast. I don't know if there's any proper science to back that.
Yeah, we do a step down as well. Yeah.
We've got a horribly underserviced glycol, so we don't do a step down. I'm just like, it takes its time.
It's a natural step down. Yeah.
Natural step.
We were just talking about that
Self-policing system.
Yeah. But like lots of times, I think I mentioned it on previous episodes, is we ferment pretty warm under pressure, and we use the Budvar strain Budvar origin by escarpment, the Czech lager strain. So we ferment like 14 under pressure typically, and then ramp up to 16, drop down to 7 at day 5, and then down, hold for 7 days and drop down to 2. But when we don't ferment under pressure, which we're actually doing, we do with all of our like first pitches, we try and do a seasonal with a first pitch, and then it's like eases it in. We knock out at 7, set the PID to 9. Then when it's like, it usually takes at that point like 7 days. And when it's within a degree of final, that's when we ramp up to 11.
So if you're fermenting under pressure since day 1, are you finding that you're getting a lot of sulfur in the product and it takes longer to lager out?
No, we don't have much sulfur production.
Just based on that yeast strain.
That stays in that
yeast strain.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I can't say if that's the best thing to do with 3470 or all those, but yeah.
Yeah, we do that with a couple of our brands. Ferment under pressure at 0.8 bar warm. I think we go 15C at 0.8 bar for a couple of our brands, not for like less traditional lagers. And I find
what's the mindset there?
It keeps CO2, like it's basically spunding the whole time. And it suppresses esters, so you're getting less ester formation. And the science of like 3470, if you look it up, is just like there's not.
You can ferment it up to 21C.
Yeah, they're like they've done many studies that are like, no one can tell the difference on ester formation at higher temperatures. So it's like
because we're capping at the tail end of fermentation to fund that and get as much CO2 as we can in there. But I think just by practice we blow off to atmosphere for the first few days. I don't find we get like a lot of sulfur.
in those beers. So I mean, that's my own.
Yeah, and we're also like
thing.
we're not seeing losses in viability either. Like we run our yeast up to 15 gens,
Oh wow.
kind of, which is like, and then like switch it out ritualistically because I'm like, man, I feel like I'm cheating on anything past 10.
You guys should
Yeah,
turn.
right.
You should turn Mike's sheesh into a button for your podcast.
Yeah. Like those radio jockeys.
Yeah, that'll be right next to the dub siren.
Yeah, I find like it almost is like less sulfury. So
Yeah, cool. Good
for
to
like
know.
if I'm doing like a German Pilsner, I'll do a more cold fermentation, not spooned. Like I'll spoon it at the very end, like a more classic like de-rest spooned it near the end, and that like keeps the sulfur in it because it's so cold, it's like not blowing that sulfur off as
Right.
vigorously as these
Yeah,
like
fair.
spooned ones that are like ripping,
Right.
essentially. So
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
you walk past the tank though. Holy, it's a good place to go if
Yeah.
you want to blame it on somebody else.
yeah,
Yeah, we ferment at around 8C, but like you're saying, Aslan, our glycol system, especially this week, has been struggling. It's not like this is a glycol system that was built to make bottle conditioned Belgian style beer that was like brought down to like 12 degrees Celsius. It's not meant for like 4 tanks to be at 1 degree right now. So it's having a time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, craft brewing in summer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, if only 6 years ago when everybody's like, yeah, we can brew everything with Kvike actually worked, eh? Ditch the glycol system.
Still need to
Ferment
package
everything
it.
at 40. Yeah.
No, you can package spike at like 15 degrees. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Next year we'll do our own trip instead of a trade mission. We'll just do a
We'll do a
brewer's mission.
podcast on location.
I was
Oh,
gonna say it's kind of sad knowing that you'll never have to go on this Czech trade mission again. Like if it was an annual thing, it'd be so sick.
I think the coolest thing about it was that it was just like a full week with other people that were just as psyched as you
Yeah,
Right.
it was
to
so
go.
rad.
It's not like
Unbelievable.
dragging your
Like-minded
partner
people, yeah.
or wife to like another brewery. You're like, but look at this one's got like diacetyl. This one doesn't have diacetyl. They're like, cool.
Yeah.
Whereas like, it was like 20 people that are as stoked that
Yeah, I think
they
the
double or
word-
triple decocted it. Like that's so
The
cool.
word of our trip was surreal. Like every time anyone had like 10 beers, in them, they're like, "This is so surreal."
We're hanging with the
And it's like-
former brewmaster of Pilsner Quell, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're hanging with
Unreal.
like the brewmaster of Budvar. It's like
Yeah.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was I don't know if it was the same for you, Darren, but like our Pilsner Kel tour, I had no idea. And we show up and it's like this older guy, older than any of our tour guides have been so far. And he like gives us his introduction. He's like, I've been working here since I was 13. I am the third generation that has worked at Pilsner Kel. I've been the head brewer from like 92 to like 98. Like, if you
Yeah.
have any questions about this place, I know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, Vaclav Burka, he was like
Yeah.
so good and so excited to talk about the story. And like
Yeah.
you guys mentioned, like, didn't kind of bullshit about like any of it too. Like,
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
great.
Well, he said he gives one tour a year, and it's that one. So like that's
Yeah.
pretty
He
special.
still had the jokes too.
Totally legit.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's funny.
The classic tour jokes. Oh man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's it was rad. We actually got to tour the malt plant too. I don't know if you guys got to
Oh,
tour that.
So
Oh, tell us about these things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
Which is
Dono said,
insane.
we're
It's
never
like-
gonna get to go again.
Which is like it's right in the same the same spot. The brewery is
we
where
went.
the malt house is.
We
which
went
is
to
insane.
Electrana, and I guess maybe instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
a
yeah, their
Where they're
pilot
gonna-
system.
Yeah.
the
25
fully
hectare pilot
automated
system.
35
Five.
hectare. Yeah, 35 hectare
like
system.
like 2 guys work there.
Five
Yeah.
vessel. Yeah.
I think my favorite part about
All hard piping.
that brewery was that the glycol piping was stainless everywhere.
Oh yeah, everything's
It's like-
stainless.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
awesome.
man.
I was like, wow, it's of course, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? It's the best. It's the best metal.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cellar experience was insane though. Like Vaclav pouring us like beers off of the pitch line barrels in the
The Schweintail?
cellar. Like
Yeah, the Schweintails.
Schweintail. Oh, the Schweintail to rule them all. That one, yeah.
Right? Unreal.
Oh my
That beer had
God.
like a woodiness to it too. Like you could taste. Well, I don't think it was the barrel, but you could taste like the pitch or something. I'm
the
not
pitch
sure.
or something.
I mean,
it had
that's
such
like-
a nice tannic. Oh, it's so nice.
Part of the discussion is like, oh yeah, we hold this here and we brew these beers this way in the traditional way to like quality check our own beer and make sure it's the same. And it's like, this is not the same, but this is great.
No, it's so great.
Let's keep
Yeah.
drinking it. Gotta make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna have to test another before I go upstairs and try the diacetyl stainless steel version.
I think that was something I learned too, is that they are so like the story is so important to their brewery. Like the history, it helps that they have like Pilsner Urquell has like an amazing, one of the best beer histories out there. But that is all part of the brand. You know, like they say all these things and they like do all that. Like we use these ingredients, we make it this way because we've always made it this way because like their brand is that. Their brand is not like, oh yeah, and then we tried these hops. Like it's not like many of us North American brewers that are like, we're gonna try this today and like, oh, we're gonna lower this. They're like, we're trying to make it the same as, you know, when I was 13 and I started working here, it tastes the same.
Yeah.
Like that's what they strive for, which is, yeah, it's a cool perspective to have when you're, you know, you've been in the industry like I have for like 10 years. Feels like a long time. Then you go over there and you have a perspective of like, beer could be this old. Like your brewery could keep on going. Like,
You know what?
they've started something like that.
Totally, and that's actually crazy because you go to the Czech Republic and you try some of these beers, and this might actually be how beer tasted, you know, generations ago, like 150 years ago, maybe more. And I don't know, like, our German brewer? I think German brewing is maybe evolving a little bit faster, and they're really trying to stick to the tradition, which is like really interesting. I don't know. It's cool.
When we were in Bamberg, I mean, I don't know how old all those breweries were, but it felt like they had some like interesting kind of historical tradition.
Totally.
To their brewing techniques. Like they just felt like it was like a little like pocket universe of brewing.
Bamberg for sure, yeah.
That was a weird thing too. Like I didn't realize. I mean, the history of smoked malt in Bamberg is basically just around the fact that every brewery was also a maltery traditionally, and so they just malt all their own. Like beer was an estate product in that sense. Like you did your malting, you like harvested your hops, which is like something as like such a novel idea here in North America.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Czech, the other thing that I can't remember where it was, maybe it was at the Hop Museum or something. They're talking about how they would strategically and they'd build like man-made lakes next to breweries in order to like harvest ice in the winter to keep the Keller cool in the summer.
Man,
Yeah,
And
insane.
maybe that was actually at Pilsner Urquell because
Yeah, Pilsner Urquell,
Remember-
they had that. The cellar was near the river, so they could like take ice blocks and then like shove them into the cellar, and like
insulate
that's why
them with hay.
and like all the floors are like supposed to be sloped. Same with Budvar, they're like all sloped, so that
Yeah.
the ice would like the water would slowly like go down the floors to like,
Yeah.
wherever the
Oh
lowest
yeah,
point
and
was.
they said if you ever got lost in the cellar, if the lights went out or whatever, you can just run your
Just
hand
walk
down the
downhill.
trough drain and just like follow the
Follow the
water,
one drain.
and that's where like
So
and that's how you
crazy.
know
Yeah,
where
like-
the exit is. It's like I remember that story. That was crazy.
Yeah,
but
that's
but
right.
we also experienced that
Wow.
in the Franconian Brewery Museum in Bamberg, which you should check out if you go to Bamberg. Franconian Brewery Museum. They had that
You
ice.
can see a really old keg washer and send it to your cellar team.
That's right.
You don't know how bad you could have it.
Yeah. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
this Bernard beer smells incredible.
Look at
It's
the
kind
color
of
on
fruity,
that.
eh?
Is that
And
a
it's deep and
what
rich.
style? Is that just a pilsner?
It's a celebration lager.
Big Selly lager time.
Big
Oh,
Sally.
You guys
Yeah.
jelly? Of my
There's the
Sally?
collab, guys. Selly Celebration Lager.
Sally lagers. In swing tops. We got to get a swing top bottle filler now.
Can you imagine how
Yeah.
hard that would be to find? It'd be easier to just buy the Bernardus.
I think when
The
we were
Define
at,
House.
was it when we were at Bernard or like somebody else? Maybe somebody was telling us this, that Bernard sent all this beer to Canada and it was like kind of like upset about it because like they're like a lot of places in Europe, they recycle the bottles and these are very specifically recycled bottles and they, I imagine, weren't able to get those bottles back and it was kind of an expensive sale for them.
Oh yeah, that's right. So now, I think that was Philip was saying. He's like,
Unbelievable.
they'll only do draft
Yeah, so we should mail our
future.
bottles back to Bernard.
to Philip. Well, no, we'll mail them to Philip.
He's the collection point. Please
Oh,
mail
man.
your.
one suitcase at a time.
Darren, on your trip, did you have Philip?
No, Teresa and forget the other gal's
Okay.
name.
Were they
We had two
also
gals,
were they
and
also
they
able
drank,
to? Oh yeah.
They drank more than anyone
I
else.
was
on the
gonna say,
entire
were they
trip.
gonna?
Unreal, right?
And they were like 120 pounds each,
Yeah,
or
Philip's
whatever.
like 90
and
pounds, and he
Yeah.
drinks like 100 liters a day.
Yeah, he's like
I was like,
consistently
are you-
able to outdrink all the brewers. Yeah.
And like look completely put together every single morning.
Yeah,
And, like,
And
Every
then run a
morning, like,
marathon
yeah,
a
okay.
week after he got home.
oh my
Seriously, what
God.
a psycho.
And
they did say though too, like they work for the Ministry of Agriculture, so they're like, this is our favorite week. Like we get to, other trips we go like check out, I don't know, like pesticide plants or something like that. Like it's not always like the most beer. I'm sure there's still like beer on trade missions in the Czech Republic regardless, but there's just more beer when it's a brewer's trip.
I think it was funny because the Australian embassy representative Milan, it was his first time on the trip, and I don't think he really knew about it. I think he was saying that he was in Sydney for like the past 30 years or something. This is his this was his final year working. He's like retiring this year.
Oh man.
And holy Milan, he is like the first day. I think that was when we went to Fleku, and he was just like,
Was that the
Oh,
first
man.
day? Holy crap.
you guys drank so much. The bill was insane.
Oh,
Like,
I'm scared to
eye-watering.
submit this. And then by the end of it, he's just like encouraging everybody and just having the time of his life.
I don't
Yeah.
know if this
He was
happened for
he was
you
great.
either, Darren, but like I don't think I ever saw water anywhere.
No,
It's like-
dude.
Nor were you offered water.
You know?
I asked for water many a time and it never came. You're like, can I get a water? And the server goes, yeah. And I go,
After the
It was
after
never.
the Budvar tour, when we got lunch in that like private room, I literally went and poured myself a water and I put it on the table, and Philip picked it up and put it on a different table. And I swear he said like Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't count towards the national average. Get that out of here.
We should go to Philip's next marathon and be like, no water for you, buddy. Just
beer.
Oh.
cans of Pilsner. Cal.
Just
Just
give
set up
him
along
handoffs
the
of Bernard.
set up on the marathon track and just
Man,
Yeah.
So the one thing that I was gonna mention that I didn't know before, and I don't know if you guys didn't know this, but I didn't know that you're supposed to chug a Mliko. So when you get a milk pour, where it's like pretty much just full foam, and I know that Mike does this at his brewery, and I think Tail Gunner did it if you wanted it, but Mike's one of the only guys I knew in Calgary that was doing this, and everyone was just like, oh, okay, that's a weird Czech tradition, drinking a bunch of foam. But it was like, it's not just crusty foam. It's like with that Lucre tap, you get a nice creamy wet foam. And I didn't realize that you're supposed to chug it. So I think that was one of my favorite parts of the Czech culture, and I really, really enjoyed that. And good way to crush a hangover.
Oh, totally.
Also-
I actually didn't
Yeah.
know that either. And it was funny
Yeah.
because after drinking about 6 liters per day on average for 2 weeks in a row, and then coming back to Canada, the first thing I did when I got back to the brewery, I poured myself a Mliko and just chugged the whole thing because I had to assert my dominance over the liquid. But yeah, that's crazy. And they're, yeah, you just pour the Mliko and that's the tradition.
like-
You just
And
down the hatch.
Lucy, demonstrated that for us on day one. She's like, "This is how it's done." She's like,
Unreal.
"Yeah,
If anybody is not going on the Czech trip listening to this, but wants to like learn about like pouring culture, which is ultimately one of the, I think, most important things, reach out to Lucy Yanikova, and like she put together a great course on how to pour beer properly. And like I think she does a bunch of entry level stuff that is,
yeah."
it's a really good summary on like the importance of pouring beer properly.
And if you're looking for something more advanced, the folks at Lucre are they have a course as well out of Pilsen.
Yeah, the like Lucre pour course. Did you guys do that after the thing?
No,
We did the. Sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
we did the beer like Czech stew course with Lucy.
Nice.
It was like a kind of like a one day course of like brewing theory and pouring, and then the next day was just brewing at the university.
Sweet.
But Lucy was awesome, but she was also like, "Yeah, you're gonna come and we're gonna pour beer, but you have to drink every beer that you pour." We're like, "Oh." And she was serious. Like we drank basically every beer we poured.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a time.
I think we went through a 30-liter keg between like 4 students and
Yeah.
Jeez.
But
a
yeah.
couple educators.
Wait,
It's like 5 of us total.
Where's the sheesh button? But on the note of these courses, like I didn't do the course that you guys did afterwards, but just like aside from the beer, aside from the brewing techniques and the malt and the decoctions, one of the biggest takeaways I took from that Czech trip was the care that's put in at the bar. You know, these breweries have been around for over 100 years, and you go to the bar and it just takes one bad pour or one bad bartender or a dirty glass, and Darren was saying, like, every glass is cleaned by hand, and every bartender knows how to pour, and they have a coaster, and everyone faces you when they're pouring. And I really appreciated the Czech bar service. I appreciated the culture behind just beyond the brewing, like what happens when you go to the restaurant, and even the little towns we were in, like obviously Polton, Ufleku, and these other bars, it's what they do. But when you go to these little towns, you still got that same care, that same service, and that same pint in a clean glass. And I just think that was so special.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Lucy talked a lot about in the course as well, is just like, like the brewers, and we talk about this a lot at the brewery as well. It's like, brewing's like relatively easy. Packaging and like serving beer is like difficult. And like the fact that they put so much emphasis on like on the service of beer, they're revering that. They're like, like the brewers put all this time and energy into getting the beer perfect for this point, and now we're basically at the point where we're up, and so we just don't want to get up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, to your point, Dono. I thought that, it was awesome.
Yeah, it makes me think about like how can we as like Canadian brewers, like how can we get that happening here? Like I don't know a better way to put that, but like beyond having like a good service model in your own like tap rooms and restaurants or whatever you may have, like is there pressure we can put on our counts to like how can we up our game? Because I think that is something that can like set us apart from like Molson Canadians not doing that.
Don't fear the
There
foam.
can't-
I think the difference is like, and this is another thing I appreciate. The difference is like you go to a bar and you go to these small town pubs, and you have 4 options. You have a 12 Plato, 10 Plato, light or dark.
Yeah.
And here you go to like in Calgary here with the Ship and Anchor where you have 100 taps.
Yeah.
And it's 20 different craft breweries. And you know what I mean? Like I think it's just the differences in our beer drinking culture compared to theirs is like there's not a lot of craft beer options in the mainstream market there. Whereas here, and I'm sure it's the same in Vancouver, but in Calgary, most of the restaurants and bars here carry a lot of different craft beer, not just Pilsner, Quill, and Bud Bar, And so I think that lack of, cohesion just comes from, I think, the amount of breweries we have that do different styles.
That's a good
that
point.
is very true. Like they were talking a lot about how like all of our beers are set to this like same like PSI and carbonation because it's all like this is a Pilsner Kel bar. Working with 20 plus taps from 20 plus producers, they're maybe not all carbonated, and the bar may not have regulation on each draft line.
That's where glassware cleanliness and like pour technique and all
That's
that
probably
stuff.
the biggest thing.
That's base. I think that should just be baseline. But there's so much passion behind it there, and I love how like the passion from like the brewery like translates to like serving, and then it like intoxicates the people who are drinking it.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yes.
I think there's also like, I think there's a lack of understanding from the consumer as well. And that's not the consumer's fault, but if you go to the average bar here, let's say in Canada, and you gave someone that much foam on their beer, they're probably not going to be stoked about that. Like we come from a culture of you get what you pay for, and you go to bars and they want a poured right to the top, no foam.
That's
And
called a value pour, Dono.
A value pour, yeah, right.
Shockton.
Shockton.
So, but it's just it's I think it's a lack of consumer education, and that's not on the consumer. That's on, I think, the breweries, the bars.
Yeah.
The
Totally.
Shockton is the what is it? The fifth, the mystery fifth pour of the
The one they don't like you to order.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it means something like water goblin. Just like,
That's right.
Which
yeah.
is what I assume they project on whoever orders it. It's like, oh, you're the water goblin. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Again,
And that one was just
beer,
basically a box pour with
Shockton.
no foam, just
Yeah.
glass full of beer.
So that's one of the things that like I feel like I learned a lot over pouring on side pull taps while I was there, because they're like every time they're like, you want to pour some beers, and you screw half of them up at least.
Oh yeah.
The timing is so delicate. Like you have to nail the timing on
Oh, the
it.
beer comes out so fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on I think a lot of those guys have it set to pour fast because they're usually like you can throttle them, right?
Yeah.
These guys are used to it.
Yeah.
They're pouring pints and pints and pints, so they're like ripping it. Like
Mhm.
we
Yeah,
could
but
set
that's how
ours.
that's how they get you to learn too. Is like you're pouring
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it quick and you do it 3 times in a row to make it right.
And then
Yeah.
But yeah, with the side pull, how much control you have, and like the beer is carbonated to a certain level, but with that you can create it to be a different mouthfeel via how you pour it.
yeah.
100%.
And like it was like pretty amazing to screw up a few beers and accidentally pour some Choctons or similar-ish
Yeah.
unintentionally and be like, whoa, now this is way more carbonated, this is a different beer, and it's hard to drink.
Yeah.
I couldn't average 3.68 liters per person
Yeah.
a day
No.
Per day.
on Choctons, but like if I'm doing schnitz, for sure.
Well, and I
Yeah,
think
the
that's one of
schnitz the best.
As we were saying earlier,
Yeah, it's best.
Getting schnitz based.
Getting
Yeah.
Schmitz days.
But with that Lucre tap, like I just think it's so neat the way you can, as Azlan was saying, you can control the texture. And like you go into this mindset that you're like, the Malico's so dumb. It's just foam, but it's like it's not crunchy dry foam. It's beer. Like the amount of flavor and texture and aroma they put in there in that tap and their style of pouring. I think like that was new to me as well, because I maybe not a huge believer before this trip, because maybe I haven't had the perfect example.
In our pour course too, they poured a Maliko and then let it rest for 15 minutes to prove to us that it's like there's still beer in there. And it's like it's a 500 ml pour, but it's 300 mils of beer.
Yeah.
You're like, that's still a lot of beer, especially if you're chugging.
Like the Schnitt and the Maliko were like the same volume of beer once it settled out. And but the Maliko had like so much of that carbonation degassed, and that's why you can like down it in 2 seconds. That's why you chug it.
I like the little 250 Malikos. Those are
little tubes.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Oh, the smaller mugs.
Yeah.
Mlichkos.
Mlichkos.
Yeah.
It was rad.
Hell yeah! And how we laughed.
Well, I think we'll bring it to a close. We'll bring it to a close here for another episode of Why This Beer. Thank you, Mike, Mitch, Dono, for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
We gotta have you on for a proper episode soon.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening to the podcast. Hope you learned something about Czech style beer and how to make it. I guess reach out to us if you're interested in this Czech trade mission. We'll get you in touch with the right people regarding that. Keep brewing good Czech style beers. Use good ingredients. Decoct if you can. If you can't, find another way like we are. And yeah, thanks to our sponsors. Please support them as well. And support Azlan and I and all of our guests by buying their beer. You can buy Mike's beer, Establishment Brewing in Calgary. Mitch from Dageraad, you can buy his beer in BC, all over the place, but especially in Vancouver. And then Dono at 88 Brewing in Calgary as well. And then Azlan and I, Main Street Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, and Yellow Dog Brewing, wherever you can buy good beer. Yeah, and thanks everyone for listening. And there'll be another podcast coming out soon. So until next time, na zdraví.
Na zdraví.
Zdraví.
Na zdraví.
Guys.